Welcome back to This Day Live, the Sunday talk show here on the Arise News channel. Bayo Ujulari, the Group Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPCL, says it is becoming a bit more complicated to revamp state-owned refineries. Speaking to Bloomberg on the sidelines of the 9th OPEC International Seminar in Vienna, Austria on Thursday, Ujulari said the NNPC is currently reassessing its refinery strategies and aims to finalize the review by year-end. On November 26, the NNPC said the Port Harcourt refinery had officially commenced crude oil processing, but the refinery shut down in May for maintenance. Ujulari added that the operating cost of oil production in Nigeria now ranges from between $20 and $30 per barrel. Oil and gas expert Dr. Diran Fawibe joins me now. Good afternoon, sir. Thank you for joining me on This Day Live.
Good afternoon to you.
Well, Bayo Ujulari, the CEO of NNPCL, says that they are carrying out a strategic review of the refineries, Kaduna, Port Harcourt, and Warri. And yet, we have spent almost $2 billion trying to rehabilitate these refineries. But he says, well, the strategic review that they are looking at, they will not rule out any option. And the option may include sale. So Nigerians are angry. $2 billion down the drain, and you are saying you are looking at options. What is the problem?
Thank you very much. Well, Nigerians may have the right to be angry because spending what you said, $2 billion for rehabilitation and nothing is coming out of it. You couldn't have put such amount on rehabilitation and you are not getting anything out of it. But it's one thing to be angry. It's one thing to know why the new NNPC management is considering that. I believe the new management, led by Bayo Ujulari, have information before commencing the review that they are talking about. And the good thing is that the new board of NNPC is made up of the best technocrats around, and those who are coming from the private sector and those who are already were formerly in NNPC. Take, for example, the chairman was Deputy Managing Director of Total. Mr. Austin Avuru is known to be an expert in the industry, having jointly established Seplat. And the people who are formerly in NNPC, like Dr. David Ige, Usman, so many of them like that, they know what NNPC had been going through before they exited NNPC in the first instance. So I believe they have the necessary understanding of what refinery operation is doing. Yes, we might have spent over $2 billion or whatever amount we might have spent in the rehabilitating the refinery. It's another thing for the refineries to work. So I would suggest, or I think, that the new management, the new NNPC, I will call it, is now trying to look at, well, is it not better to minimize your loss? Because if we continue to operate the refineries under the existing arrangement and nothing is coming out of it, and people will come to say that, why did you continue? You see, are those who are insisting that the refinery must not be sold, the refineries must be continue to be operated? I think their eyes will come down now. Let me take a cursory look at the history of these refineries. The Obasanjo administration came to the conclusion that it was better to sell the refinery, and that's why it was sold to Dangote. But the Yar'Adua administration, came in and said that no, on the advice of NNPC that the refineries could be managed, but the rest is history. We now know that the refineries was having a problem. And in the process, we have gone through so many promises that the refineries will work. So much money has been spent. Whether the money incurred in rehabilitation was adequate enough to actually remedy the problems with the refinery is another question. So what I think new NNPC was trying to do is to assess the situation realistically and determine whether it is better to continue operating the refinery under probably a different arrangement or to sell. And I would think that many people have advocated the selling of NNPC refineries over the years, and the labor union and some other people came down to say, no, it's a family silver and shouldn't be sold. But let us wait for the review that NNPC is doing. At least the review will come up with various options of what to do all the way forward.
Okay, it's good you mentioned Dangote. Yeah, but Dangote has also expressed an opinion in this matter. He says that those refineries may never work again. Well, you may say he has his own refinery now, Dangote refinery, but in 2007, when he bought one of the refineries, he paid, I think, $750 million. The Yar'Adua government came, and the Yar'Adua administration said, oh, it looks like this was just given out for political reasons. And Dangote is saying, even at that time, they were producing those refineries at 20% capacity, but that so much has happened since then, those refineries may never work again. Do you think he knows what he's talking about, or he's just trying to prevent any other refinery waking up by whatever alchemy?
Well, Dangote, Ali Dangote must be a well-respected Nigerian. I have a lot of admiration and respect for him, for his courage, for his boldness to go ahead to, after he was denied the sale of Port Harcourt refinery, he went ahead to consider that, okay, if they deny me the ownership of that refinery, I might as well set up my own, and which he did, and did it in a big way. He should be respected and for taking this, for having this courage. But having said that, probably he should, Dangote should probably not have said what he said, because it's prejudicial, to the review that is being done. And also, if NNPC was to sell the refinery, those who want to buy, their mind will already be conditioned that the refineries will not work. Now, let me say this. If NNPC decides to sell the refineries, the statement could undervalue those refineries, and whoever buys the refinery will not pack all the equipment and throw them into the Atlantic. They will have to do something about them in terms, and because, come to think of it, yes, the first Port Harcourt refineries of 35,000 barrels per day was established in 1965 or so, which was upgraded later. And then the new Port Harcourt refineries was added to it in 1988, so that we now have about 210,000 barrels per day capacity in Port Harcourt. Now, Warri is there with 110, and Kaduna about 125. So when you have these facilities there, the problem with the refineries over the years, these have been aired, over so many times about the lack of investment on the part of government to engage in meaningful rehabilitation maintenance. In other words, some of the monies being made to do rehabilitation came too late and too small at various points in time. And nobody knew what was actually happening to some of the monies being being put into the rehabilitation. I know for a fact that in the 90s, people used to complain about lack of spare parts, and then the management of NNPC at that time now filled a warehouse with spare parts, because come to think of it, in other parts of the world, when you are operating a refinery and you want to maintain efficiency, you must be ready to replace the equipment as and when necessary. It's a question of take and fix, plug and play, because that's the only means you can maintain the operation of the refinery on a continuous basis without too much downturn. Now, the government set up committees, Arrest Adams Committee, General Bajowa Committee, to unravel why there were so many spare parts at that time. But so we have been having a lot of problems. After that, government has been very reticent, in putting enough money for the rehabilitation. And when money was put, it will come too small and too late. So the Dangote should not have said what he said. To my own mind, I have a lot of respect for him, like I said, but the statement could prejudice the sale if NNPC comes to the point of selling it. And we should not restrain NNPC from doing what it is right, as long as they make the process transparent. And the federal government will be involved, the National Assembly will be involved. That people used to say is a family silver. If you are disposing of family silver, it should be done in a way that it will not be considered that, it is selling the refineries to political operators, and then the new government, the new administration will be selling it to some of the cronies. So if it is done with the concurrence of the federal government and the National Assembly, I think Nigerians will be much happier than it is done continue to operate without any meaningful result at the end of the day.
Okay, despite the concern expressed by the CEO of NNPCL, he said also that, whereas he said operating cost is between $20 to $30 per barrel, he's also saying, on the other hand, that crude oil production is very sure that they will be able to do 1.9 million barrels per day of crude when they can't even meet OPEC quota. On what is he basing his optimism?
Well, the one good thing that the new NNPC did was to engage the operators and all the stakeholders in the oil and gas industry. And their information were being collected. When I was eyewitness, in fact, I was part of the engagement with some private stakeholders in the industry, apart from the meetings being held with the IOCs and the producing companies. The companies that are operating on the service end of the industry were also brought into discussion, and certain ideas were generated. It was a novel idea in the oil and gas industry. And the whole strategy and purpose was to find a way of operating with high degree of efficiency and optimizing cost. Now, in Nigeria, to my mind, I've been in the industry for over 50 years, and I knew that Nigeria used to be one of the low-cost producing country, in the world, comparable to what was operating in the Middle East. How could it be that today we are operating at the highest operating cost level, and we should consider this unacceptable? So the new NNPC is now looking at the whole gamut of the industry operation. Now, for example, some of these problems were caused by Nigerians. Take security, for example. When you look at the proportion of percentage of operating costs, security costs in the industry. It was practically non-existent or completely absent in the 70s, in the 80s, but this has become a major issue, an industry of its own. So if some of these things were highlighted with honesty of purpose, I think what the GCO of NNPC is saying that, well, it's an aspiration. If ever we couldn't reach that level he was talking about, we're moving close to it. In terms of production level, I think it's feasible because we knew what has been the problem for low production over the years. For almost 8 years, previous administration, nothing was achieved very much. Could you believe that, Nigeria that was producing 2.3, 2.4 million barrels per day in the past was producing even 900,000 barrels per day. It was totally unacceptable. So if the new administration now wants to go ahead and give marching order to the NNPC, working with the IOCs and the operators in the industry, I think reasonable results will be achieved, to my mind.
Okay, Doctor, as we begin to wrap up this conversation, what is the way forward? For many Nigerians, the way forward is that whoever was involved in the mismanagement of those refineries should be probed and sanctioned, because about $2 billion cannot just disappear into thin air and nothing will be shown for it. After all, the Port Harcourt refinery, some people say, we were told it was technically ready in November last year. By May this year, the same NNPC Limited came back and said, oh, they will have to shut it down. Now the next story is that it will have to be sold. So where is accountability?
Well, the review being done by NNPC, I believe will be very far-reaching. And the investigation or the review will unravel what went wrong. Take one of the contractors doing Port Harcourt Refinery was said to be doing about $1.5 billion. And many Nigerians were raising their voices. Why should the rehabilitation cost as much? So now the review, I believe, will unravel what has happened in the past. If only the immediate rehabilitation effort, and it will now unravel and highlight what went wrong with the expenditure of such amount of money that we are not having any result. And then, of course, there will be recommendations. So the management doing the review, they are listening to the public in terms of, people who engage in this rehabilitation exercise, what should be done about them? I will leave that to them. So, but I believe that just as you said, in terms of transparency, accountability, it should be visited. It should be one of the things that the review should cover.
Okay. On that note, Dr. Fawibe, I would like to thank you very much for joining us on This Day Live, the Sunday Talk Show today. Thank you very much indeed.